Again, my name is Sid Haas with LKCS. I'm the Vice President of Business Development, and today's webinar is entitled Still Afraid of Social Media. Today's presentation is going to focus on the three things that you're seeing on the screen. We're going to give you an overview of social media marketing, why it's important for financial institutions. We're going to talk about primarily about managing social media and the challenges that social media brings with it. And as I said, we should have some time for Q&A at the end of the presentation today. For those of you not familiar with LKCS, I have one obligatory slide to share with you. We've been working with banks and credit unions since 1961 in a wide variety of capacities. Back in the early 60s and 70s, we were a very traditional marketing company with print and mail. And then through the 80s, 90s, and since then, we've obviously transitioned into a lot of electronic services, primarily utilizing data to improve our clients' marketing and communications efforts. So today we offer a wide variety of marketing solutions across all media, including web development, web design, electronic marketing, and obviously social media, as we're discussing today. Along with a base of all of the traditional marketing services, and we also process statements and e-statements for over 200 financial clients on a monthly basis. So to start the presentation today, I actually want to get some information from you guys. So on the poll that's about to launch on your screen, please let me know, what you are most afraid of when it comes to social media marketing. And I'll share these results with everybody in a few seconds. Give it a few more seconds as you guys are putting in all your answers. Okay, I will go ahead and share the results of the poll with everybody. And not surprisingly, the majority of you on the call today are afraid of compliance and privacy issues, followed second by worrying about negative comments. And these are, obviously what we see and what I expected to see, today. So we'll be discussing those, both of those areas at length, how you can manage the compliance and privacy issues, and obviously how you can handle and the proper way to handle negative comments. And we'll be discussing those other issues, those other potential social media challenges that you see there as well. So when we talk about social media marketing, just so that everybody is, on the same page, I always like to explain what social media marketing is, at least in my opinion. So social media marketing is obviously the process of using different media platforms to engage both new and current account holders. And some key things for you to remember when it comes to social media is about engagement and conversation. The content, we'll be discussing content and the challenges of developing content. But when it comes to developing content, what you're looking for is to increase engagement and conversation. With social media, you have to build communities. These are not things that happen, instantly or overnight. Social media is not a set it and forget it marketing strategy. It does take some time and some involvement and requires some dedication. So we'll be certainly discussing, how to minimize that amount of time, but you have to be committed to social media. The social media landscape is huge. Today there's well over 100 different social media platforms, and that continues to grow. So while we're, going to focus on the big three, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, maybe 4 with YouTube, realize that there's many more, and there are some, that are dedicated to specific audiences. You can consider LinkedIn as an example of one of those, as it focuses primarily on the business sector. And there are some that are, for specific purposes. news, friends, dating, photos when it comes to Instagram, videos with YouTube, ratings, sites like Foursquare and Yelp, those types of things. There are just, you're not going to be able to be everywhere. So you kind of need to pick and choose which social media platforms are the best for your institutions. And we're going to recommend, obviously, some of those. And they're the ones you're familiar with. The benefits of social media marketing, as you see here, are, number one, to increase brand awareness and exposure. This is going to be, how you can kind of come out of the box a little bit and show who you are, what you're doing, and the things that make you different from all of the other banks and credit unions in the area. You're going to be able to strengthen relationships and expand service opportunities. You'll be able to answer questions through social media, and we'll discuss that and the compliance and privacy concerns around that. You'll be able to build a loyal community of followers. Some of these people you'll know, some of them you won't. But that loyal community is going to spread the word for you about, the benefits of using your institution. Social media will definitely boost traffic to your website and improve your search engine optimization, and we'll talk about that a little bit. It's going to enhance your trustworthiness. You're going to be seen as experts on subject matters, and which is all important, again, when it comes to brand awareness and exposure. It will reduce your marketing costs. Social media is not expensive. It's not an expensive platform for you to utilize. It's not free, but it's not, as expensive as other marketing avenues. And it does give you the opportunity to monitor your brand's online reputation. And while a lot of people see that as one of the risks, I guess, or one of the concerns of social media, we see it as a benefit. Because you'll be able to see what people are saying about you. You'll be able to see what people are saying about your competitors. And you'll be able to respond to that. And it will lead to account acquisition and sales opportunities. I don't, see social media being your primary avenue of generating new accounts and, new account holders. But obviously, the goal for your institution not only is to improve that, brand awareness, but also to generate new opportunities. And it will do that for you. So let's talk about some of the platforms and why you should be on there. Facebook publishes new data quarterly. This is the last set of data that they published. Facebook has 1.49 billion monthly active users. These are people logging in at least once a month. 968 million of them log in daily. That is a 17% increase in the past year. There's a lot of debate about whether Facebook is shrinking. When you see that they had a 17% increase in the past year, it's hard to say they're shrinking. I think their demographics are changing. I think we're seeing younger and younger Facebook users use other platforms such as Instagram more frequently, but they're still on Facebook. There's 844 million mobile daily active users. And mobile is following that trend, not only with social media, but with your websites and everything else. Mobile use is a 29% increase over last year. And 161 million of these people are in the U.S. and Canada. I don't have U.S. numbers specifically, but that's still, 161 million people is a big number. 30% of Americans get their news on Facebook. And you can see the other stats. Facebook users are spending an average of 20 minutes a day on Facebook, 8.3 hours per month, and 6% of all time spent online is on Facebook. And when it comes to those demographics that I had mentioned, you can see there 34% of 18 to 29-year-olds are on Facebook, and 40% of internet users over 65 use Facebook. When it comes to Twitter, why should you tweet? Well, there's 316 million monthly active users of Twitter, and over 89 million of those are in the U.S., and these guys are using it frequently. Those active users, there are 500 million tweets sent each day. That's huge. And you watch with the trending topics and all those different things with Twitter. It's a big deal. And when it comes to monetizing Twitter, 37% of Twitter users will buy from a brand they follow. I would likely, and I would be inclined to say that that percentage would probably go across all social media websites. When you're able to communicate with, customers and members and potential account holders, they're going to get to know you. They're going to get to know what you're talking about, what your brand is about, and they will likely, do business with you. 70% of people on Twitter follow small businesses primarily to get product updates. They want information from you. And again, I think there's going to be similar stats across other profiles as well. Google Plus is a platform that I highly recommend. And I'm not highly recommending it as a social platform. I don't see you getting a lot of engagement with Google Plus, but Google Plus is owned by Google. If you have not yet claimed your Google Plus pages, you should. And what I mean by that is chances are Google has already created Google Plus pages for each and every one of your branch locations. They use it in their map listings. They use it in all of their search results. And because it's owned by Google, Google actually indexes every single post to Google Plus, and each post gets its own unique URL. Those posts are indexed immediately and listed in local search results. So if you have a Google Plus post about auto loans or, a home equity special or a CD campaign, anything like that, that post is going to get indexed immediately. And when a user local to your market searches for auto loans or home equity or certificates of deposit, guess what posts are going to get shown first? And because Google has implemented or invested many, many millions of dollars into Google Plus, those listings are going to be shown ahead of all of the organic listings of websites and things like that. Keep in mind that Google also owns YouTube, and YouTube videos are predominantly featured on Google Plus pages and also in those search engine results. 68% of all searches are conducted on Google. So again, the number one reason to use Google Plus is for search engine optimization. It's not difficult. Our recommendation is anything that you publish or post to Facebook, you should also publish and post to each and every one of your Google Plus pages. And when we talk about some of the tools available to manage social media, I'll show you how you can do that with one additional click. Blogs. We see more and more financial institutions establishing blogs. Primary reason for a blog is, again, search engine optimization. Google and Bing and all of the major search engines love fresh content, and they know that blog content is fresh and it's updated continuously. So again, blog content is going to appear very high in organic search results, and it will improve your search rankings and drive traffic to your website. It will help you establish your expertise, not only as a financial institution, but establish the expertise of the individual publishers, the bloggers themselves. And it will generate leads. Include calls to actions in your posts. Ask people to comment on those posts. All of those different things will lead to success with your blogs. Blogs are not overnight success. Social media is not overnight success, as I discussed. You have to kind of plant the seeds and wait for them to germinate. When it comes to social media in general, we recommend that you post about 3 to 5 times per week, not per day. With Twitter, you can certainly tweet much more often. You could potentially tweet 3 to 5 times a day if you wanted to. But really, the takeaway here is quality over quantity. If you don't have a quality post, don't post it. Make sure that all of your posts provide value, to your followers. And we'll talk about that quite a bit. And just know that you should post new updates often during business hours. The CEOs, if any of them are on the call, may not want to hear this, but the highest traffic on social media sites occurs midweek between 1 and 3 p.m. And on Thursdays and Fridays, engagement is 18% higher. Okay. If you've ever looked at the stats on your website, LKCS hosts several dozen financial institutions' websites, and we look at the statistics of traffic on those websites, and it's amazing to see the decline in traffic to bank and credit union websites over the weekends. And I would just, say that that's similar to, what's happening on social media over the weekends. Not that people aren't using it, but they're certainly not looking at business pages and things like that. So, for you, I would highly recommend that posts to social media are done midweek, or certainly during the week and during business hours. You can experiment and you can see when you get the most engagement, and a lot of the tools we're going to discuss measure all that for you and show you that. But this is what we see time and time again with our clients. You want to make sure that you respond often and quickly. So when somebody comments on a post or publishes something to your social media profiles, you want to be active, you want to engage in that conversation, you want to thank people for their comments, and you want to be visible. One of the newest, metrics that Facebook has is actually showing you your time to respond. It's something they take pretty seriously. And, again, there's lots of tools that will notify you when you get a new comment, and when you get a new post to your pages, so you have, that notification so you can respond quickly. And we'll talk about negative comments quite a bit, but you don't want to, ignore or delete negative comments. There's going to be times, obviously, when you do delete them. I would probably never ignore them, but we'll discuss how to respond to them appropriately. And develop a post strategy to make social media a little bit easier for you. We're going to discuss how you can create that content in advance. There's a variety of tools to schedule that content, so you can write the content ahead of time. Like now you should be writing your content for next month, and before the end of September, you should have all of your posts scheduled throughout the month of October. You want to use photos, images, links, and videos whenever possible because you want to keep it social. Content should be fun and informative and not just push products and services. You're certainly going to mention your products and services. You're just going to create a balance. So good content, again, photos and videos and links. Photos and videos are going to get the most likes. They're going to get the most views. People like pictures. People love video. Okay. Links, and again, don't just limit links to your products. Link to interesting websites, links to related news articles, links to funny things. Mix it up and use that 80-20 rule. 80% of your status updates should give value and information to your fans. 20% of those updates can be promotional or relating directly to your products and services. And post like a friend, not a company, not a brand. So those informal, personal posts get a better response. In the bank and credit union industry, we have all of these complex terms, and our followers on social media don't necessarily know those. So stay away from them or explain them. Maybe one post a week could even be like a dictionary, a definition of a complex term, or a financial term. Reply to fans again when they comment on your status updates. Just them knowing that you're going to be there and even just like one of their comments or reply to it, they know you're actively engaging with the page, and they're more likely to comment and increase engagement, continue that engagement in the future. Keep your status updates short. Obviously Twitter forces you to do that, limiting it only to 140 characters, including links. So it's about 20 characters even for a short link on Twitter. And if you include a link and a photo, you're down to 100 characters. But even on Facebook, you really want to limit your posts to no more than about 250 characters. Celebrate milestones. People love to see when people are having birthdays and anniversaries and, branch opening anniversaries, all those types of things. Recipes, people always laugh at me, but people love seeing pictures of food. So, take that and use that to your advantage. Post regularly. It's not like, social media is not one of those things where you can post 3 to 5 times this week and 3 to 5 times next week and then take a few weeks off. It's one of those things that you kind of got to continue to do it. and people will look for it and appreciate it. So easy ways to increase engagement: ask for likes, ask for retweets. I see a lot of posts, from clients and prospective clients, and they're always like, we don't get a lot of comments, or we don't get a lot of likes. And I was like, I'll ask them, when was the last time you actually posted a post asking people to like it or asking for comments? And while you don't think you need to do that, it's kind of like leaving out a call to action in an ad, a newspaper ad or something like that. You need that in there. Sometimes you just need to spur people to comment or like. Trivia isn't trivial. People love trivia. People love riddles or jokes, those types of things. Ask a question about an image. Where would you, think this photo was taken as the example there? Where would you use our mobile banking app, right? Those types of things. Photo and caption contests. Contests are huge on social media, especially Facebook. They're inexpensive. We can show you lots of different solutions. My favorite, I think, for contests, an inexpensive option for you to look at is Woobox, Woobox. It's a terrific solution, very low cost, and gives you lots of ways to, introduce contests into social media. Use simple fill-in-the-blank prompts, again, to increase that engagement. Where can you find content? This is one of, I guess, social media's challenges. Content is everywhere. For those of you with a newsletter, I encourage you to pick it up. I bet you can find 2 to 3 social media posts in each article in that newsletter. I hear all the time, newsletters take us so long to put together, and, we don't know if people read them, and they're so expensive. They're still, in my opinion, one of the best marketing options that you have, but you can repurpose that content. You can repurpose that content into blog posts. You can repurpose that content into numerous social media posts and tweets and, all those types of things. But you can see the other options that you have here, as well. There's content in more places than you realize. And I hear from our clients all the time, well, we don't know what to talk about. Well, give me a call and we can discuss a few of the areas where you can find things to talk about. Every day you can come up with posts. And like I said, we're really looking for 3 to 5 good posts a week. It's not difficult to develop that content at all. So let's start talking about some of social media's challenges. And I think the second highest rated challenge in our little poll earlier was related to negative comments, and how that affects your brand reputation. Well, let's face it, people are talking about your bank or credit union whether you like it or not. So, and some of it is truthful, but not all of it. So, the deal with social media is that you need to control your brand. You want to establish these social media sites so you, what I call, own the conversation. You want that conversation occurring on your Facebook page or your Twitter profile or your LinkedIn page, wherever it may be, so that you can see it, and most importantly, so that you can respond to it. Answer questions and solve issues that you uncover. You're going to learn about what people are complaining about and what they're not happy about, and you're going to be able to uncover it. You will find, and my experience with our clients is that 80 to 90% of the comments and posts and things that they get from their account holders are positive. 20%. 20 to 30% are negative. You're going to get complaints. People are going to complain more often than they're going to praise, but there's great ways to respond to that. So what you want to do is make sure that you can turn those negative comments into positive opportunities. So you're not going to want to delete all of your negative comments. In fact, regulators don't want you to delete all of those. You're going to want to keep them visible. And I apologize for my typo here, but Pope will know that not everyone is happy with their financial institution, or for that matter, any business at all times. They know that people are going to be unhappy with you. You're going to make decisions that, aren't favorable to some people. You're going to do things that don't make people smile all the time. there's reasons for you to do that, and we're going to be able to discuss some of those and I'll give you some specific examples. You absolutely will remove any posts that are inappropriate or offensive, that contain vulgar language, that violate your privacy policies or other policies. They mention the teller's name, they mention the loan officer's name, those posts come off immediately. Those things, there's not even a question about it. You can remove those and you can choose whether or not you want to respond privately to the person who posted them. People who post negative comments want a reaction. Just deleting their comment or hiding their comment or ignoring their comment, for that matter, doesn't diffuse the situation, and it will encourage them to continue to complain where you can't do anything about it. They may go to your Facebook page specifically to complain about whatever happened to them today or yesterday, and they're going to wait to see if you respond to it. And if you respond, maybe they'll take that response and they'll think about it and they'll understand it, and maybe that will stop them from complaining to every friend and neighbor and coworker and relative that they have about what happened, that day relating to your financial institution. When somebody posts a negative comment, their friends and other followers on your social media site see that comment and they watch for your response. So it's, you may not be able to fix the situation with the person who complained or gave a negative comment or a negative review, but the other people that see that negative review and see your response to it are going to see that not only are you, again, engaged in social media, but that you care about that complaint and you're trying to, make it right. And again, I'm going to share some specific examples here in a second. But that quality member service or customer service will be seen by others and will influence their banking decisions. So here are some examples, and I just provide a few, from my experience. So, some of the complaints that you may see is that somebody was denied for a loan, and they're going to, light you up on Facebook or Twitter or wherever it may be. So here are some potential responses. We're sorry to hear that. Our lending policies are based on sound financial practices that protect all of our account holders. You can go a little bit further, our social media team. So we don't have to say that the whole credit union or that the whole bank, is sorry for whatever happened, because you're not sorry. We understand your frustration. Our social media team understands your frustration. Would you like me to have a loan officer contact you directly to discuss your situation? We have several resources available to help you improve your credit score and other loan decision factors. Please visit whoever our credit counseling agency is or whatever website you refer, people to. These are potential ways, again, to diffuse that situation, show them that you, understand their complaint and their comment, and hopefully turn it around into a positive scenario for you. And again, not only is the person who was denied for a loan going to see this, but all the other people looking at your Facebook page or your Twitter feed, and all of their friends and followers as well. When it comes to your general customer service or member service complaints, some of these are going to be valid and may give you opportunities to correct some deficiencies within your organization. There's nothing wrong with saying, thank you for bringing this to our attention. Would you like a manager to contact you directly? We're sorry to hear about this. We pride ourselves in service, and we'll certainly bring this issue to our management team. Or in some cases, we would like to learn more about this situation to see if we can remedy it for you. Please contact our marketing team and give a number, give an extension, on there. You want to continue that conversation. Maybe you want to continue it offline, and we'll discuss that here again in a second. We see complaints about high fees or poor rates or, whatever else. Here are some opportunities, that you can see on your screen to respond to those. Again, I guess acknowledge the situation and provide information about why it's that way. And, maybe there's nothing you can do about it. You may not be able to waive the fees. You may not be able to change the rates or match rates or anything like that. But again, you can respond to it. You can show them that you appreciate their comment, and here's the situation. Here's how it is. If there's something you can do for that member, you can, take that conversation private. right? You can private message them inside of Facebook. You can direct message them inside of Twitter, provide your phone number, anything like that, so that you can, or if they're an existing account holder, give them a call. But post that you're going to take it privately, because again, those other people that see that negative comment or that complaint want to see how you're going to respond to it. And if you say that you're going to contact that individual privately to discuss whatever matter it is, they're going to take your word for it, and you'll be able to address the situation that way. So the second media challenge that I want to discuss is demands on your time. It's highly unlikely that social media is the only thing that you do in a day, right? It's not your primary job responsibility. It's an add-on. It may be something you want to do. It may be something that your supervisor has asked you to do. But chances are, unless you're from a huge institution, it's not the only thing that you're going to do. And I realized that signing into multiple websites and multiple social media profiles is time consuming, especially if you sit there and refresh and look at each one of them, 5 times an hour, because you don't want to miss a comment or a post or a review. And that's only looking at the sites that you use. What are people talking about on sites that you don't use? Just because you don't have a Facebook page today, maybe, doesn't mean that nobody's talking about you on Facebook. And maybe you're not using Twitter yet, but that doesn't mean anybody's not tweeting about you, or you're not using LinkedIn, or you're not using YouTube, or you're not using Yelp, or you're not using Foursquare. What are people saying about you there? So you need to be able to approve and publish social media content. You need to be able to review and respond to posts and comments and be notified of those comments. And you need to report on social media activity and results. And you need to do all of this without taking up a lot of your time. There's a lot of different tools to do that. We're going to discuss that in a few slides. One of social media's other challenges is the fact that it's changing constantly. As we already discussed, social media is much more than Facebook and Twitter. What about those other hundreds of sites that that are out there? And you can't possibly establish a presence on every one of them. It's just not feasible. So where will people talk about your institution? Where are the places that they're most likely to go? And I would, venture that that's going to be Facebook and Twitter, and it's going to be LinkedIn for businesses. You need to monitor and consolidate all of those social media sites so that you can learn about any mention or any review of your website, regardless of your institution, regardless of what website that was posted on. And you want to build that online community of loyal followers that are going to come to your defense, in the case of any potential negative comments. And they're going to be talking about you and retweeting your tweets and sharing your posts and things like that. Compliance. So this was obviously the number one concern and the primary reason of our webinar today. And it's no surprise that social media keeps compliance people up at night. They're just afraid of social media and its ramifications, and possibly rightly so. Just realize when it comes to compliance that the same rules and regulations apply to social media as all other forms of advertising. If you wouldn't put it on a billboard or you wouldn't put it in a newspaper ad, you're not going to put it on social media. And whatever disclosures and disclaimers and equal housing lender logos and all those types of things that you would put on that billboard or on that poster or on that newspaper ad, you're also going to include with your social media posts and policies. You're going to want to keep written policies and procedures regarding the use and monitoring of social media. Who has the right, who has the ability to post to your social media profiles? How do you monitor your social media profiles? How do you monitor conversations in general on social media? What tools are you using? How are you being notified of these things? Again, it comes down to that risk management and that reputational risk. So social media needs to be part of your risk management analysis. And how are you going to respond? What are the appropriate ways to respond to those potentially negative comments, right? keep management and the board informed of your social media, of your use of social media, not just of your policies, but how's social media doing for you? I'm going to show you some tools where you can generate a monthly report that can be emailed directly to you or directly to your CEO or directly to your board of your social media activity. Hey, here's what we talked about. Here's what we posted. Here's how much engagement we got. Here's how many new fans we have on Facebook or how many new followers we have on Twitter. One single 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that gives all the information. So again, you can keep everybody informed about what you're doing on social media. And you're going to want to train your employees on their proper use of social media, not just on how they're going to post relating to the bank or credit union, but how they're going to use their personal social media profiles. Because the fact of the matter is your employees are seen as your employees, even when they're using their personal Facebook pages or their personal Twitter profiles. So what's proper for them to talk about? What's improper for them to talk about? How can they disclose that things are their opinion and not necessarily the opinion of the financial institution? And those are all things that are important for you to train them on how to do. Social media can be managed efficiently and affordably. Managing social media manages that risk. It manages and minimizes the compliance concerns and the privacy concerns and those negative comments concerns that you have. So when it comes to managing social media, the most important piece to look for is a way to monitor social media. You can't be looking everywhere all the time, especially when you don't even know where to look. How do you know what's being said about your bank or credit union today? What tools, if anything, are you using? Again, you can sit there and hit refresh on Facebook all day long, and you can, look on Twitter all day long for any mentions of any hashtags and, handles and things like that. But you're not going to find all of those conversations. You need a tool. You need a tool specifically designed for monitoring social media. Here are some good ones for you to consider. Hootsuite is a good one. It's great at monitoring. It's good at reporting. I feel it's so-so publishing. Some people say it's very good at publishing, but it gets very expensive. It starts off free, so there's a bazillion people using it. It's the most popular tool out there. I would venture to guess that many of you on the call today are probably using Hootsuite, but it's limited to the number of profiles. It's limited to the number of one person that can use it at a time, those types of things. And as soon as you venture beyond their free version, costs add up pretty darn quickly, especially if you try to look at some of their compliance options and things like that. TweetDeck is an awesome tool when it comes to Twitter, but nothing else. I mean, it's kind of declined once Twitter bought it as well. Buffer is a great tool. It's terrific at publishing. It doesn't do anything about monitoring. And the last thing that you want is to need multiple tools, by the way. I wouldn't recommend using Buffer and Hootsuite together. One has great publishing tools, one has great monitoring tools, because then again, you're looking at two different screens, two different panes of glass all the time. Sprout Social is gaining popularity. It's a terrific tool. Again, it limits the number of profiles. So as you establish more profiles or want to look at, doing more on social media, it gets a little bit costly. So, while some of these tools start out free like Hootsuite, social media is one of those things that you're going to want to establish a budget for. Now, because this is compliance related, so the compliance people aren't going to like to hear this, but the marketing people might. You might be able to swing some money out of your compliance budgets to pay for monitoring tools such as these. And be aware that LKCS does have a social media management platform of our own. We did a lot of research and looked at hundreds of these tools. There's more and more coming out every day. But we've, selected and customized tools that we feel are best of breed for our financial institution clients, and we'd be happy to talk about them. I'm not going to go into detail on it in this presentation today because we don't have time, but I would be happy to discuss this offline with any of you as well. Social media monitoring is typically subscription based. Like I said, there's lots of choices with new ones every day. And when it comes to budgeting, these tools start at about $150 on the low end, and some of them can cost a ridiculous amount of money, over $1,500 a month on the high end. But as you look at social media monitoring and what these things do, and again, I'll show you what I think a good platform does. You need to be able to budget something for that. It's going to be much less expensive than your newspaper ads or your radio ads or your billboards or all of those other things, but it is going to require some investment of time and money resources. These social media tools, however, can monitor just about any of the social media sites. They can monitor RSS feeds, they can monitor blogs, and they can be agency managed. So LKCS, as an example, can set these things up for you so that they're basically on autopilot, sending you the notifications and things that you need, giving you the tools that you need to take advantage of them. But you need a good platform. I mean, that's my absolute recommendation. You need a good one. What can these tools do for you? Well, first, they're going to publish your content. They're going to let you post and schedule content across numerous social media sites at once. So going back to towards the beginning of my presentation when we were talking about Google+, and I probably surprised some of you when I highly recommended Google+, but then I told you that we recommend publishing all of the content that you already published to Facebook, to Google+, with these tools adding all of your Google Plus profiles. So if you have 3, 5, 10, 20 branches, each one of them has a Google Plus page. For you to publish a Facebook post to those 3, 5, 10, or 20 Google Plus pages can be done with one click. Now, if you weren't using one of these tools and you had to go to Facebook and create the post, and then you had to go to 3, 5, 10, or 20 Google Plus pages, obviously it's a huge amount of time and effort, and you probably wouldn't do it. But with these tools, it can be one click. These, when you're publishing posts and tweets, you'll be able to include text and photos and links and all of those things. The best tools will let you preview and edit those scheduled posts. Hootsuite doesn't do a real good job of previewing posts, just so you know. And then it will let you review what posts you've sent, so you don't even necessarily need to go to Facebook or Twitter to see what went out. You can review them right in these tools. Check which sites are supported by any of the tools that you're looking at, and in particular, look for the limits of the number of profiles you can connect. Hootsuite's a big one here, but so is Sprout and some of the other ones. We talked about those Google Plus pages. So if Hootsuite limits you to 5 profiles or 3 profiles, I don't even remember what the limit is right now. But let's say it's 5 profiles. Well, if you have a Facebook page and 3 locations, there's going to be 4 out of the 5 right there. If you have more than 3 locations, you're probably over the limit with the free version of Hootsuite right out of the bat. And then these tools, the best of them, can actually bulk import posts from Excel spreadsheets or CSV files. So we talked about, how you can write this content ahead of time and then schedule it all. Well, you don't even have to schedule individual posts. You can literally import all of your posts for a month from an Excel file and have it populate all of those posts. You can preview all of those posts, see what they're all going to look like, make sure there's no problems with them, and then schedule them all out. And then if you need to change the schedule during the month, you can certainly do that, and obviously intersperse any additional posts, with community events or photos, stuff like that. These social media platforms, monitoring platforms, are obviously going to do monitoring. The best of them are going to give you what we call a unified inbox, showing you all posts and comments made directly on your social media profiles in one spot. So you're going to see Facebook stuff and Twitter stuff and LinkedIn stuff all mashed together in chronological order, and you'll be able to respond to them right from the tool wherever they came from. So again, you're not having to log into Facebook to see the comments. You're not having to log into Facebook to respond to the comments and then do the same thing for Twitter or do the same thing for YouTube or wherever these come in. They're all going to come into this one inbox organized, and make it very, very easy for you to respond. These tools do a lot of sentiment scoring, so you'll be able to see automatically what has a positive sentiment and what has a negative sentiment. So you can handle those differently. And then these systems learn that sentiment. So they may not get it right at first, but you can teach it. You can teach these systems what is a good sentiment and what is a negative sentiment. They'll let you set up keyword searches across social media. And when I say across social media, I mean all social media sites, not just your profiles. They'll search across review sites, and they'll even use like Google alerts and things like that to search for the web, as a whole for any mentions. So you'll receive notifications of mentions of your company name, of specific product names or brand names that you're using, of your competitors if you want to, of your executives or board members. So you can set up these searches, and we can help you set them up so that you receive daily notifications or reports, so you can see automatically what people are talking about, about your brand. You can receive instant notification of comments and posts and things like that. But maybe you just want to see a daily notification of, any mentions of your competitors on social media, or weekly for that matter. And again, when you're looking at these platforms, look for limitations in the number of searches you can set up. The best platforms don't have any, they give you unlimited search capabilities and unlimited monitoring setups. Some of them are limited. And again, these will send out email alerts to you right away. Reporting, again, give you that ability to build and schedule reports to track those metrics that are most important to you from each of your social media profiles and put them together maybe on one report. You don't have to have a separate Facebook report and a separate Twitter report. You can put them together on one report, show you the posts with the most engagement, and these reports give you that ability to archive all of your posts. So when the examiner or the auditor wants to see what you posted on social media in the month of August, you go to your file cabinet, pull out the month of August, and all of your posts, that report that you have, that monthly report shows all of the posts that you sent out during that month, and all of the engagement they received and all of the comments they received, et cetera, et cetera. Some of the advanced functions provided by some of these tools is the ability to override preview images. For those of you that use Facebook regularly, you've probably seen sometimes when you put a link in a Facebook post that it pulls an image, but it may not pull the image you kind of expected it to pull, to show with that link. Maybe it pulls your logo. Maybe it pulls, the NCUA logo from your website, or the Facebook logo from your website, or some photo that you have no idea, why it's pulling it. These tools actually let you override that. So whatever image, it thinks you should use, if you want to change it, you can do that. The best of these tools not only let you publish Facebook posts, but they let you publish cover photos and photo albums and videos. And when it comes to, and scheduling these things, so your cover photo, what I see is that it's very rare for a financial institution, and most financial institutions, to change their cover photos, but yet you change banners on your website very regularly. Well, why not change that cover photo? Because it's not that easy for you to do right now. But if you had a tool that could publish those cover photos, you can literally make that cover photo like a banner out of your website. Maybe change it once a week, once a month, something like that. There is no way, unfortunately, to set your cover photos to be like a rotation like they are on most websites, but you can control when you publish new photos or when you change that cover photo. You can assign activities and responses to other users. So when you get a comment or a question, or a post or a complaint to your social media profiles, you may very well not know the answer or not know how to respond to it, or you may not have time to. Well, you can assign that to any other users of the same social media tool. So I can give it to my assistant, I can pass it up to the manager, whoever. They'll get a notification that there's something for them to do. They'll log in, they'll immediately see what's been assigned to them, and they can respond to it. You can set up some automation with some of these tools, so you can set up auto responders and auto followers. So, somebody retweets one of your tweets on Twitter, or they follow you on Twitter, or they friend you on Facebook, any of that, you can set up ways to auto respond or auto follow these people, and you can do it so it doesn't look automated. You can do it so it looks like a human is doing it, personalizing these responders using a variety of different automatic responses, that the system chooses. So again, it looks like a person is doing it. It's not done instantly. So it's not like as soon as somebody follows you, you follow them right back. Maybe it's done only once an hour, something like that. So there's a lot of ways to automate some of the social media functions. So again, to reduce your time, but still generate that engagement. And content curation, a lot of these tools now give you ways to find social media content. They learn about what you're posting and then actually show you recommended posts or trending topics or those types of things. So again, you don't have to look at multiple social media sites to find that kind of stuff, but it's given to you, and then you can choose if you want to generate a post based on, what the content is that's recommended. I'm running a little bit short on time, so I'm not going to go through all these. But when you get the link this afternoon to download the presentation, you'll actually see some settings that we recommend you set up on Facebook in particular to help address some of the compliance and privacy concerns that you have. So we'll show you how to, these are settings to set up multiple administration roles, to moderate posts to your page, to receive notifications of new posts on Facebook by email and text message potentially, to block profanity. And again, these are specific to Facebook. When it comes to compliance, we think that you should have a long description about what's appropriate for Facebook, content and why you might remove posts. And again, talk about how you're insured and obviously that you're equal housing lenders, things like that. One more obligatory slide before I go to questions. When it comes to LKCS, these are some of the social media solutions that we help our clients with. So, I really encourage you just to contact me with any questions. I always say that my time is free, so I'm happy to answer questions that you have or give you my advice. And then I can, obviously recommend solutions that we offer, or maybe, other, solutions to help whatever ails you when it comes to social media or marketing in general. And that's all I have for you today. But I do want to thank everybody for your time. Thanks very much for listening to me today. I hope I gave you some valuable information.